Hey everyone, my name is Sefati. I am today's topic is about AI and SEO and how AI is impacting SEO. And for my presentation today, I'd like to go over evolution of AI and point out some of the changes that would be relevant to this topic today. A little surprised, a lot of people have been saying for a long time SEO is dead or it's dying. No, it's not going to happen, but it is changing a lot. But about myself, I'm a CEO of Clarity Digital. We are a search and social marketing agency. We are expanding into other channels soon. Based out of Irvine, we are a remote agency, but I do have an office that we work, so whenever you're in Irvine, feel free to stop by. I usually don't talk about myself so much, but it is kind of related to what I'm talking about today. So I've been around in tech since the late 90s. I got my degree in computer science in 2002. Back in 1999, when I was a junior at college, the moment I took a couple of computer science classes, I ditched working for UPS and got my first tech job. And it was a lot easier, and I was a loader at UPS. And I worked for a software company, and I did a little bit of everything for them, from coding to QA to tech support, built their first website. I liked the website stuff more than anything else, so I started creating a lot of websites for myself, mainly e-commerce. I remember I made my first website in static HTML with PayPal buttons, so it wasn't a real e-commerce. And I made my second website in Xcart, selling soccer and lacrosse products. And that's how I had to learn SEO and SEM, because I realized just building a website isn't enough for you to make some money online. So I had to learn SEO, SEM marketing. And over the years, after doing some of that stuff over the years, I became a full-time SEO expert and SEM expert. Worked for many agencies and in-house companies. And last few years, I started running my own agency. I'm married, family, and I'm mildly autistic, so you probably know that. So now, why did I go over my background? I remember using search engines such as Alta Vista, Excite, Ask.com, all this good stuff. And it was really easier to optimize for those search engines. All you had to do is figure out what keywords you want to rank for and just put it on the website in title tags, meta keywords, meta descriptions all over the website. And then link building became a thing, and you just had to ask for backlinks. Link exchange was a big thing. That's how you rank in search engines. And you could also get away with doing a lot of black hat and gray hat SEO. Cloaking, hidden text, your text and your background, font color and background text would match, and users couldn't see us. You could put many keywords. Early 2000s, Google started changing the rules. Their page rank algorithm didn't look at just the links, the number of links, but also quality of links. Then us SEOs figured that out. We started adopting more complicated link schemes, and then Google started releasing more updates, Panda update, Penguin, and all these other updates that I have on a deck. What I noticed was that at the beginning, Google was more transparent about their updates. They would tell you what the update is targeting. For example, Panda update focused more around, I believe, content. It's been a while. Penguin was on the backlinks, but as it got to work, the later updates, they stopped kind of giving you specific information. Now, the SEO community thought that Google was trying to, not give you as much information so you could put more money in Google Ads, and that may be the case. But being a computer science guy, I started seeing patterns that the algorithm was relying more and more on machine learning. And Google did mention that they're using more machine learning signals. And I think about 5 or 6 years ago, they stopped giving their updates names. They just call it Google Core Updates. And again, this is one of those things where people said in the SEO community, oh, Google's not trying to tell us what they're doing. Having talked to some former Googlers, a lot of Google probably didn't know. The way they were updating the algorithms for AI. AI was learning. They were getting more data. They were releasing they were doing these updates, and it was just a lot of AI just learning, as opposed to, but it wasn't real time. They had to actually, update. These was manual updates. While that was all happening, we started seeing what I like to call accidental search engines, where consumers were bypassing Google and going to places like Amazon, social media, YouTube to search for stuff. I myself, as of today, if I need a product that I know Amazon has, or even searching for a product, someone says good product, I don't go to Google first. I go to Amazon because I have the app on my phone. Just search for it. It's a good experience. It just gets there the next day. So, and I'm not alone. You're going to see some data on the next day. But it's also social and YouTube search. Again, going back to when Google was going away from Google Universal to Google to GA4, we had to help our clients with that transition. We were on YouTube a lot trying to figure out how to do it because we are not going to read a bunch of articles on Google's website. It's a lot easier. So consumers are bypassing Google already before AI, Gen AI, going to these sites for specific things they were looking for. Social media, same thing. My wife uses Pinterest a lot to figure out what she's going to do next to the house. Gen Z are using TikTok to search, and it's pretty cool. I recently bought something on TikTok. It's pretty awesome. So consumers, the point I'm trying to make is that consumers they didn't have loyalty toward Google. So if you just focus on Google, you're missing out on all this opportunity. Here's some data. It's 1 year old. That's all I could find. Excuse me. As you can see, when it comes to product search, Amazon, I think it's February last year, Amazon was the main search engine compared to Google. The second bar that you see there, it says search engines. That includes Google and Bing. They were behind Amazon in product search. So Amazon's already more popular than Google when it comes to product search. And then you have Walmart and YouTube and these other sites. So again, the point I'm trying to make here is that consumers are open to try other search engines. And that's where we enter generative AI. When ChatGPT came out, I think it was in late 2022, I had access to it, or maybe it was early 2023. Most people are using it to write content and like, oh, this is great. And I immediately saw that this is actually can be a good search engine because you're not just talking, conversing with it, you can actually search information. And I just saw my own consumption of Google for informational research had dropped because I can simply ask ChatGPT a question, it will answer me. Sometimes it hallucinates, so you have to double check it. But it got better and better and better with the latest releases. And if you have the paid version, then you can see the difference. And but then I realized I'm not the only one. This is according to SEMrush. More and more, again, this data is December 3rd, I believe. More and more users are beginning to use ChatGPT for search. SEMrush is only, in this article, they're only looking at informational keyword research topics, not everything. So this data is showing that ChatGPT then followed by Gemini, Perplexity, OpenAI, Bing Chat, and U.com as of December were being used for searching by consumers. So that already is telling you that I was not the only one using ChatGPT and AI for search. Average consumers are doing it too. Again, my wife is a nurse, and I didn't know she was using it a lot at her work. If she had a question about, she's a school nurse, so sometimes when a student comes in and she doesn't know what to do, or she has doubts, she goes to her ChatGPT app on her phone. And so it's great, like consumers shifting away from Google, at least for informational searches, and going to all these AI tools. And also the data to websites shows that if you want to see how your website is being, like this, how depending, like where you're getting your traffic from search engines versus these Gen AI tools, you can go to your Google Analytics or whatever analytics software you use, go under referral. It won't be under organic. You go under referral, and you can see how much traffic you're getting from these platforms. This is data as of October 2024 by SEMrush about the referral traffic trends that are coming just from ChatGPT alone. As you can see, number of visits and number of visits and users are on the rise. And so again, this is just showing that consumers are using these tools more to search and bypassing Google. Now, how do you optimize with ChatGPT? To tell the truth, no one knows it's AI, but what we've noticed is the principle of the basic, the foundational stuff for SEO are still relevant for ChatGPT and AI search. Except that before, you had to also optimize for a bunch of signals that Google had, and now you don't have to worry about some of the stuff, and we talk about that in a bit. And basically, those 4 C's that I like to call them: code, content, credibility, and customer experience. What are they? Code is basically your website being easy to index, loads fast. It doesn't have any weird JavaScript that crawlers cannot, misunderstand. It has schema markups. It helps crawlers understand content. Your content. Your content needs to be unique to you. You can use AI tools to increase the length of your content or improve your content tone, and we do that a lot. And we've noticed that if you want your content to rank, whether in Google or in ChatGPT or other like Claude and other tools, you still want to have unique. It needs to be unique to you. You want to have a unique data. You want to have a unique perspective, and then you can use AI tools to like pad your content, optimize your content. You also have to be credible. Your brand, it's more about, in the back, credibility was mainly measured by backlinks, but now it's more about everything else, about your brand sentiment, about your mentions, basically your digital footprints, not just backlinks. And customer experience, this is a big deal because AI understands customer sentiment. So it's not just about your website user experience, but it's the entire journey. So from the time they enter your website, transact, buy a product, and then if they, and you could do everything right, but then if you get the wrong product or if the product arrives damaged or late or whatever, leave a negative review. AI understands that, and that could impact your visibility. But then what else? There's other things that you could do to optimize for AI. I just asked ChatGPT, what can I optimize for you? This is where the ChatGPT answers. You want the content to be conversational. I know in the e-commerce it's difficult to do that because you have limited space. So our recommendations to our e-commerce clients is that try to see what you can, maybe add some more content below fold. But if you can't do that, have a blog and then promote your products or the category of products from the blog. Have internal links back to the product. That conversational, strategy really helps. And for example, we have a client that sells blankets, different type of blankets, and instead of, and one of the blankets they sell is wool blankets. So instead of saying, hey, let's just optimize for the keyword wool blankets, let's just optimize for the questions that people ask. How to clean wool blankets? What's the difference between the cheap wool blanket? What's quality? Like how do you find quality wool blankets? So you have to get more conversational. And API and indexing. If you're using a platform like Miva, then that's great. But whatever platform you use, you want to make sure that it's integrated with AI because AI tools don't just crawl your websites, but also they learn from you through third-party APIs. AI-generated summaries. This helps train the AI model. I'm going to give an example. We have a podcast that stuff on YouTube, and then we go and literally take the transcript of the podcast and put in ChatGPT and say, hey, give me 1,000 words AI summary. So you can also put it on my website. And I've noticed that it's generating a lot of traffic from ChatGPT and from Google, of course, because Google likes content. So even though your content needs to be unique, you could use AI to generate summaries for you. Think about it of training whatever platform you use. If you use OpenAI being the most popular one, when you're inputting content in it, in a way you're training the model. Multiple formats and channel content marketing. I can't emphasize enough that the world of SEO focusing on just your website is almost over. We probably almost have a couple more years. You want to diversify, you want to have, if you want to just sell on your website, fine. If you don't want to have an Amazon store, I get it. But at least try to figure out how else you can amplify your brand, your website, your products on social media, on other websites. Obviously Amazon will be additional revenue, but they also take a big cut. But the idea is that you want your content to be available multiple formats. Also by multiple formats, it's not just you want to create videos, use as much AI as you want because you're probably training AI. So have videos, repurpose your content, and also make sure that you're not very transactional. I know most of the people here are running e-commerce shops. You want to increase your sales, you want to improve your average order sale, but you also want to enable the consumers, and we're going to get to that, to make educated decisions. In fact, this is something I learned from Jeff Bezos. That's one of the reasons Jeff Bezos on Amazon.com, they have that long content. It's because they know that more content is actually better, not only for SEO, but also for conversion. Because consumers, if they don't know your brand or they don't know the product, they can make more educated decisions when they want to buy something. And that also helps you with AI optimization. The other one that is really big is personalization. You got to get away, figure out whatever platform you use, how you can personalize products. Instead of having a generic search, you want your search engine to be there. If you have a returning customer, this is a certain product they want. it would be great for the search to be personalized. Same deal with if you're a local website and someone is going to your website, it would be good to have custom content to that individual. And that's so basically, as a recap, AI before AI was very keyword based. Now it's context, intent, and entity SEO based. It was very Google centric, at least for the last decade and a half, but it's becoming multi-platform and omni-channel. Manual content creation, unfortunately, I had to let go of some of our content writers. Now we create a lot of content in AI, and we have a couple of editors editing content. So that's what we're doing right now. Again, we are in the driver's seat. We don't tell AI to make things up for us. We tell it what we want to create. But then you also have to be able to use it so we can create more content. Back in the past, SEO was very backlink focused. Now it's not just about links, it's about mentions, citations, reviews, sentiment, all that good stuff. The algorithm was very static. Even though Google had adopted a lot of machine learning stuff, you would still have to update it manually. And that's why every few months, Google would have a major update. Now it's just like real time, and it's zero click. And a zero click is when you don't see any listing, you just see the answer you want, and you don't have to go to the website. Before SEO was very website metrics. Again, this is we talked about that multi-channel, and the user experience used to be very generic for everybody. Now you can personalize, and there's a lot of good tools out there. This is the big one. This is what I want to talk about a little bit. If you are measuring SEO, for foreseeable future, maybe the next couple of years at most, you can look at your keyword ranking, organic traffic, but this is time to start thinking about your SEO success in a different way. SEO, because if you notice, a lot of the ChatGPT, Claude, whatever tool that you use, a lot of times they don't send you, they just give you the answer, they don't send you to a website. So as marketers, you have to figure out how you can influence consumers. So you have to think about that rather than, what is my keyword rankings? It's not linear anymore. I'm going to improve my keyword ranking, I'm going to get more traffic, I'm going to get more conversion. That is going to go away, and it's going to be replaced by how you influence consumers. So basically, in a way, it's a form of branding. If someone's looking for, I don't know, I used to own a soccer shop online, so I'm just going to use that example. What is a better soccer ball, Nike or Adidas, then you want to optimize for that. Who's a good soccer shop in San Diego? You want to optimize for that. So basically, you have to influence consumers earlier before they get into transactional keywords. Because for the reasons I mentioned, you may or may not get links from this platform. Future of SEO role. If any of you are SEO experts or concerned about the future role, it is not going to die, but it's going to change a lot. Marketers have to evolve. I was actually looking at this yesterday. And I'm not anti or pro Elon. I was just curious about all this drama that's going on with him right now. And I went to Google, I'm like, is Elon part of the Trump cabinet? And then the other screenshots you see here is Perplexity, which is my favorite AI-based search engine. If I could zoom, can I zoom? How do I zoom? Okay, you can't zoom in here, but basically here, when I type that keyword in, it just gives me a bunch of articles. I'm like, who's going to read all this stuff? But when I went to Perplexity, same exact question, the answer was, I can read it off my computer. Elon Musk is not a member. He actually told us answer. Elon Musk is not a member of the cabinet, however, plays a significant advisory role, blah, blah, blah. So basically, it just gives me an answer, as opposed to me having to figure it out with a bunch of articles. And then it will give me a bunch of listings. So consumers are going to expect this more, and then your perspective on SEO has to change. There's no way around it. After reading this, I'm sure this came from a bunch of websites. I didn't click on them. I just, okay, this is a good answer, thank you. So as a marketer, you have to figure out how you can capitalize on this because you may not get the traffic anymore. Consumers prefer this over this. Because here, I don't have a lot of time to go through all this to figure it out. Where here, you just told me, Elon Musk is not part of the cabinet. So that's really, so you have to think about changing your strategies. And, but what is it that AI cannot do? So what we noticed is that we have a lot of clients in Shopify, and Shopify Plus, I think, started introducing more AI solutions. Before, we used to spend a lot of time writing title tags, meta descriptions, things like that. Things that I actually didn't want to do, but we had to do as an SEO agency and marketing agency. But now, Shopify Plus does all that, and I think Miva does it too, or is about to do it. And so I'm actually happy about that. Well, it was a little bit of setback for us because now we get we had to let a couple of people go. But now we can actually think more strategic about SEO. It's not about tags and stuff anymore. It's about what is that creative thing we can do to move the needle. And so that's still something humans, as of right now, AI cannot do it yet. So that's something that SEOs can, it needs a human to do it. And so SEO experts need to focus away from like this little bit tactical thing to more strategic type of SEO. Understanding complexities. Again, AI is good. If you feed it data, it will give you a good answer, but big picture, we need humans. Relationship building, PR, earlier I explained about digital footprint. This is the human thing as of right now. You cannot have AI do it for you. You might be able to automate some of that, the outreach and whatever, but you still have to have the human interaction. Ethical and brand compliance. AI hallucinates a lot, prioritizes, content is inconsistent. Even if when you train it to follow your tone of content, it can make a mistake. I use this paid tool called Jasper, and it's, we upload the client's tone of voice, and I still see a lot of mistakes. So, for example, in one of the things we said, do not say this is made in USA, say it's assembled in USA, but it still says made in USA. So you have to, you still have to monitor that. Creativeness, AI will give you the creative tools, but creativity comes from humans. And competitive and market insights, AI can give you data, but you still have to lead the initiative. And final thoughts, AI is changing SEO, but it's not eliminating it. Search disruption are happening. You should not push back, you should embrace it. Traditional SEO method will eventually be obsolete. I give it 2 years at the most, and I'm being generous. New approach to SEO, AI SEO, multi-channel SEO will be a thing. Start thinking about optimizing for TikTok, start thinking about optimizing for Amazon. I think from what I've heard, there's a lot of Amazon talks here today, so that's great. Start thinking about obviously optimizing for ChatGPT and AI, and you can just ask it. I mean, hey, how do I get more visibility from you? How do I get my articles shown by you? And they can probably tell you, but if you go to the foundational things that I said, create really good, awesome content, conversational content that consumers can use. And I can give you an example. There's a lot of SEO articles out there in the web. Because SEOs like to write, they're competing to get traffic. But I noticed that there was not enough content on enterprise level SEO audits. There was a lot of articles on SEO audits, but there wasn't enough on enterprise level SEO audits. And there are some differences. So we wrote an article about enterprise level SEO audits, and we get a lot of traffic, not only from Google, but also from ChatGPT, because I think we're the only one that actually had content like that. So look for content gaps to figure out what type of content you can create that your competitors do not have. And then an SEO marketer should have more of a strategic approach. Use AI, and don't push back, but use it, be in the driver's seat, and for automations and gaining deeper insights. But use it, but in a more strategic approach. One thing that I really learned, I take a bunch of AI classes right on Coursera and all these other places. And something I learned that you want to have an AI protocol for your agents, for your company. What are some of the things you can or cannot do using AI? And tone of voice, your content tone of voice is definitely things that you cannot say. When I get an email that says uncover top 10, I know ChatGPT wrote it, it's just attractive to me. So do include the human touch to it, make it more humanized, and but do use AI for that, because agility is important. We're at a time where you got to move fast to get ahead.